Hey, I'm Sean Anderson with Seanderson Tech. Welcome back to my channel. Let's get started. Today we're going to be talking about Ansible playbooks, which are simple, human-readable scripts that are going to accomplish your automation. And so last time we talked about Ansible ad hoc commands, which are single commands that you're going to be running to test out your automation. Well, once you've tested those modules out and you know how they work and you know how to use them, putting those modules into playbooks is going to make them easily repeatable so that you can run them over and over and over again, especially for tasks that you know that you're going to be doing over and over again. This is going to be very useful in streamlining any of your automation processes. Now, like I said before, playbooks are written in a simple human-readable language, which is YAML. And there's a couple of things to know about YAML. First, it is very space sensitive. And so a lot of times you'll find that when you're writing in YAML, if you use tabs half the time and spaces half the time, you're going to find something breaks. So knowing how to space everything out correctly is very important. Second, knowing the syntax of it is going to be important also. It's very easy to pick up, but it's very, like I said, it's very touchy, and so if you don't write it just perfect, like with any other language, it's going to give you issues. So there's two parts to your Ansible playbook, and I like to say that the first part is the how you're going to run your playbook, and the second part is the what you're going to run with your playbook. And to give you an example, in this example above, you can see there's two defined chunks. The first part is going to define the how you're going to run it. And you're going to see things such as the hosts you're going to be targeting, any variables that you want to define, and any other parameters that you're going to say, hey, I want to run this as administrator, or I want to run this playbook as this user, or I want to connect to the host this way, or I don't want to gather facts in this playbook. And these are just a couple of examples of what you're going to be doing with that playbook. Now, the second portion here is going to define what you're going to be doing. And you can have any number of modules that you want to run. Maybe you want to copy a file. Maybe you want to ensure that there's line within a configuration file. Maybe you want to run updates or restart a machine. You can define each of those in sequence of how you want those run. Now, after you've defined all of that, this whole section is defined as a play. Now, a playbook can have multiple plays. So you could have this play targeting these hosts and doing these tasks, and then you have another play that will run immediately afterwards that's going to target a different subset of hosts and run different automation tasks. And each of these is going to streamline your process. And there's a lot of different ways that you can do this. And this is just one of the ways that I want to show you how to modularize your automation. So coming back into my lab environment, I've got a couple of folders already built. To show you guys, I have the configure machine folder, which is going to contain my Ansible playbook project here. And I have my configuration file already defined, and I have my inventory already defined. We're going to go ahead and we're going to go ahead and create our main YAML file, which is going to be called main.yml. So, and the first thing that we're going to do, and because this is YAML, you want to make sure that you have the -- defined right there, and that's basically going to say that this is a YAML file. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to add a self-documenting line, which is called name. And basically what name is going to do is display this when we run this playbook. And so we're going to say push configuration files to VMs. And so the purpose of this playbook that I want to write today and that I'm going to show you guys is going to be pushing configuration files to my different VMs. Specifically, I have a Vim file that puts in all of my custom Vim configurations, so it looks fancy like this. And I believe that you need to have a dash and a a dash and a space there to define that line. And the next line we're going to do is hosts. And the hosts that we're going to define are my Death Star servers group. Kind of like what I used before. I modified it for this specific use case, so it's only going to be targeting my VMs, not my main machine. But you can see that those are the hosts that I'm going to be targeting. And then if I wanted to add any variables, I could do var, or vars, I believe. In this case, we're going to be running as an administrator, so we're going to say become true or become yes, whichever works. It's going to define it the same way. And then finally, when we're all done with that, we can say tasks and get into our first task. And our first task is going to be copy files to destination. We're going to say copy Vim files. So we're going to use the copy module. And the copy module uses a couple of different parameters. And so the first parameter that we need to define is the source. And so the source is going to be on my local machine, and it's going to be home. And I believe it is Vim. Sorry, that's going to be .vim. And we want to set the destination to be that same location. So we're going to say home. That way it's going to push that file and that folder to the exact same location. Now, we want to have another task that does the same thing. And so we're going to go name copy vim rc to destination. And we're going to do the copy module again. And we want to do source home and destination to be the same location. So now that we've written our actual playbook, and you can see I have a couple of tasks that are written, and it's running two different modules. I could run other modules besides these two. Let's look back for a second and take a look at it. First, I have the how, kind of like I mentioned before. You have the how you're going to be running your Ansible playbook, and the what you're going to be running. And so the task is the what, and this first section is the how. And so when we go ahead and run this, we're going to go ahead and run Ansible Playbook, which is different than the Ansible command that we ran before, which was just Ansible and whatever you were running. So we're going to run in the Ansible Playbook module, or the Ansible Playbook command, and we're going to do the main.yaml file. And so it's going to go ahead and reach out to each of those machines, and it's connecting, making sure it's connected properly, and it's copied those folders and files to each of those. And so if I were to run this again, you're going to see that it's going to say that everything is okay, nothing needs to be copied. If I were to ever change my configuration on my local machine, then I could run this playbook again, and it would automatically update all of those files without needing to go in and change them manually. And so it'll recognize, hey, these are different, and update them for you. So if I wanted to test to see if those configuration files were pushed over correctly, I'm going to go ahead and SSH into one of my machines. And we're going to go ahead and SSH into Jedi, and we're going to see ls-al, which is going to list all the files in the current directory. And you can see that those files and folders were copied over. So you can see the .vim folder was copied over correctly, and you'll notice that it is copied over as root, and that's because we ran it as administrator. And so if I were to run this without running it as administrator, it'll show as Saunderson T instead of as root. But it should work at this point. It should work the way that we want it to. And so if I were to go vim new file, you can see that it does have the formatting correctly. It does have the correct colors. And so it did copy over everything correctly, and it's reading everything the way it should be. Hey, again, thank you so much for watching these videos. If you've enjoyed them, please hit like and subscribe. I've had a lot of fun making them, and I want to keep making them and learning more about how to do the video editing, because that's not something I've been into in the past, but I've been having a lot of fun mixing things up and trying new things with each and every video that I make. So again, if you like it, please hit like and subscribe. If you have any questions about Ansible playbooks or how to write them, or more tips and tricks, or just wanting to learn more in general, please drop those questions down below, and I'll make sure to answer those in future videos and address each of those topics as they come. So that way I can help you guys develop your talents, and so that I can also know what you guys want to see more of. And so again, thank you so much, and I'll catch you on the next one.